Hello, Jacques.
Yo,
Good morning.
we're at war.
What do you think that
You
means
probably,
for you and me?
well, I don't know what it means, but it's saber rattling from a troublemaker.
Well, I've heard rumors that Iran has the full Epstein files, and perhaps as partial retaliation, they might release them all.
Oh, hmm, you can hold your breath on that one, I think.
Why wouldn't they release them?
Well, what makes you think they have them?
That's a good question. All I know is Russia has them, Israel has them, CIA has them, Mossad has them. I would, I would hope that someday soon, Anonymous will have them. So what else does it mean for you and me?
Hmm. Well, that's really hard to imagine how it is that he's going to use this as a way to steal the midterms.
He's using this as a distraction from the Epstein files.
Well, we know
He's
that.
already got the midterms sewed up. He's not going to let the midterms happen.
Well, I'm not in agreement with you on that point. However, he's not going to make them easy.
I think he's going to escalate between now and the midterms. He's going to muster all his forces. Hey, look, it's Eric. Eric, good to see you. Good to see that you're not at least 99.999% occupied with your music responsibilities.
Yeah, I have a day off today, but tomorrow rehearsal and then performance on Tuesday, and yeah, it gets crazy.
Well, Jack and I were just bemoaning the fact that some idiot has launched us into a war.
Yeah, Congress didn't declare it. I know. Who knows what'll happen now?
Congress is such a waste of taxpayer payer money and completely cowardly, spineless. And I'm talking about both parties. Democrats are even more spineless. In fact, I wouldn't call the Republicans spineless. They have a spine. It's the Democrats that have no spine. Uh,
What's amazing to me is that Israel joined the war. I would have thought they'd have been smart enough to stay away.
well, I don't know. I don't know. This is a touchy subject, but is there any doubt that Israel actually has Trump in their pocket? Is there any doubt whatsoever?
Well, if there was any regime change needed, it's in Israel.
Do you agree with that, Eric?
I'm not sure right now. I just need to let this process.
Well, most of my Jewish friends here think that Netanyahu has to go. They never liked him, and they never will.
Mhm. I think
So
he's
just
more.
as the rest of the US citizenry is acting cowardly and spineless by not removing Trump, we can say the same thing about those in Israel who do not support Bibi as well, right?
Well, there's something to that. On another subject, it looks like MAGA just took over CNN and HBO and all the other cool shit.
Well, if Paramount buys all those media companies that they're trying to buy, and maybe this is a step towards that. It's already bad. I didn't think the deal went through already.
It's, well, it has to go through the regulatory process. However, the regulatory process isn't just the US, which is a slam dunk. Um, and here's another interesting thing. It was the day before the deal went down. Um, Netflix CEO went and visited Trump. And when he came home, he backed out of the deal, walked away from it. So just try to imagine yourself what kind of bullshit Trump laid on him.
Another thing I find interesting is Michael Dell getting involved in these $2,500 accounts for all the kids. What's going on there?
Yeah, that is amazing.
Because I actually used AI to help me see both sides, and what it pointed out to me is that it is trading the future of these kids for the stock market. That
Oh, yes.
they're going to have to
That was
invest
always
that
the
money.
case.
Right.
Yep,
It's the same way that defined benefit plans were changed to defined contribution plans. I mean, that affected my company in the past. So
right.
I don't have a pension. I am responsible for investing to secure my retirement, just like everybody else is now. But yeah, that's really saying there's no social safety net, no government security. So that's really what's going on there. Even though they could, yeah, make it look like it's charity. Oh wow, yeah, give these kids money. They'll have $100,000 when they're 18. Wow. Well, who knows? That's not guaranteed. So you got to look at the money behind a lot of this.
I guess my mind just doesn't work a certain way. When somebody has tens or hundreds of billions of dollars, why is it still so important to get more and to keep others from having any?
Look at Altman.
I don't want to look at him. I still,
The
my mind just doesn't work this way.
the day after Anthropic gets banned, he swoops in and cuts a deal.
Yeah.
What does that say about his caring about your privacy or your anything else? He's not painting a populist picture.
No,
He's
no,
painting.
no, no, no.
I thought of something else. Years ago, I remember Bill Gates saying, "Oh, I'm going to donate most of this money to charity," and then he started his foundation. Well, now he's in big trouble, and is and knowing the facts of what came out in the Epstein with um, the Russian influence, what that does is that paints his whole that he could have been manipulated, and it throws it throws a shadow on all his good work from the past.
Well, it wasn't all good work either,
No,
you
I
know.
know that,
He's
but still, it's just how a reputation can just go in the toilet now.
By the way, speaking of reputation, I wasn't clear how come Hillary wasn't more closely associated with Epstein. I thought, and maybe those are AI generated pictures, I thought I saw Hillary in some of those Epstein file photos. Am I wrong? Bill certainly was there, but I thought Hillary was in at least one at a table with Bill Gates and with Epstein. Maybe that was AI generated.
I didn't look at the pictures. So.
Oh, the pictures are really bad, Eric. Don't look at the pictures.
Yeah, I don't want to look.
I mentioned to Jack weeks ago, I made myself listen to the whole 4 hours plus of the Sasha Riley interview. That was bad enough, but that was only a slice of the
Yeah,
perspective that has now come out of the Epstein files. Just like Virginia Giuffre's book was just a slice, and already it was bad enough.
I did listen to that interview, and it was just horrifying. I couldn't get
Did
through
you
it.
listen to the whole thing or just
No,
that half hour?
maybe an hour or two, but it just I couldn't handle it. Just knowing that evil.
I couldn't either. I had to make myself go back and listen because I had to stop myself probably 3 times before I went back and finished listening to the whole thing.
Hmm.
It's that difficult to just sit and just spew in the depraved level of evil that clearly exists in this world.
Hmm.
Is it a sign of privilege that we were so naive as to think that that evil was already eradicated?
I think the times we grew up in, we were shielded from it. We had we were involved in our own pursuits and
Yeah.
the
And that's what
computer
I'm
age.
saying. Is there a way to characterize that? And maybe it's painful, but maybe that's a sign of privilege. I was protected from that when I was growing up myself.
Yep. So now we're coming to terms with it. It's a cognitive dissonance that we're trying to understand and figure out
Yeah.
how to cope with.
Yeah.
This
We thought
doesn't
we
have,
got rid of evil in the Second World War. We thought
right.
we got rid of evil in the Civil War. How fucking naive. And yet, that's the story that's taught us in school so that we don't look any further. So we don't go poking around in the South and asking questions about statues and names of forts.
It's similar to like when somebody's involved in a cult and they come out, they have to be deprogrammed. It's that kind of shock because you've been insulated from reality.
Yeah. Which is the red pill? Which is the blue pill?
Hmm.
And there's still 3 million pages that clearly are still worse than what's already been released.
Hmm.
Otherwise, they'd be released by now.
I always find it interesting when people say millions of pages, and then how do people read that much? Yeah,
They slam them through AI.
right. I
You could
tried
have
having
redacted
a
using AI, but clearly it had to take at least 10 years to redact all that stuff.
right, but not everything works through AI. Had like trying to have it read a 400-page book for me and summarize it. It had some trouble.
It can't do any worse than the bungling, incompetent job that's been done by the DOJ to date.
Yep.
I would trust AI to do that redaction, sooner than I trust the entire FBI right now under Kash Patel. By the way, I realized this morning that it was exactly 1 year ago today that I posted my meme that said, AI is the new India.
Mm,
I posted it exactly 1 year ago today.
okay. Hmm.
And back then, nobody commented on it. I don't think anybody knew what I meant.
I'm concerned about people just letting AI do too much for them and losing human capacity for thinking, critical
That's
thinking.
the point, Eric. That's
Yep.
exactly the point. I, more and more, I'm more and more pessimistic about humans' likelihood to level up. And I'm even more pessimistic about just even the small handful of humans surviving through the next 100 years, let alone leveling up.
Well, look at the generation growing up today and what they've been through, the COVID and
Yeah,
yeah.
they're right to be disappointed in, their older predecessors
Yeah.
who completely bungled this job of, stewarding the world.
So I saw a video about my generation because I was born in 1970, so I'm Generation X, and they said that a lot of us had to become self-reliant because parents were working and we had to take care of ourselves. And the kids, a lot of kids these days don't have that resilience that we had to develop.
You know, were you called a latchkey kid?
I wasn't, but people in my generation were.
Mhm. Well, after reviewing what's come out of these books and files, I wouldn't let my kids stray alone in any city in the United States.
Yeah, these days it makes no sense. But back in the 70s, 80s, that's what it was. So we also grew up not trusting authority, and especially government. We saw the lies and the scandals. So internally, we developed that mistrust.
Wait. Was there ever a time where you did trust the government or any of your ancestors?
Hmm. I think that that's what they tried to teach us in school, but it didn't work.
See,
We
my
saw
family
the,
comes from Taiwan,
yep.
where in 1945 the Chinese came over, lied to the Taiwanese people, and just killed 10 to 20,000. And in fact, today is the anniversary of that incident, and instituted martial law for the longest period in all of recorded history. The
Wow.
longest period of martial law was on Taiwan. So we in Taiwan are used to understanding that governments and those in power are liars and cheats and power mongers and murderers.
Well, that's not that different from the US.
Did the U.S. ever actually go out and kill 10 to 20,000 people in the U.S. in like one
Um,
movement? Well, okay,
yes.
let alone the indigenous peoples. I grant that. Yes, that's true.
All right. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, good. You got a point there. Yes. Yeah, I'm talking about recorded history. That unfortunately is not what I consider recorded history.
We took people who walked this land and put them in bounded areas, geographic areas, and
Yeah,
said,
that
"This is where
also.
you shall live."
That's right. Although I think most of them were not actually murdered, right? Were there many murders?
Well, there was plenty of murders, but I mean, the most recent thing that we know about was the Native American kids that went to American schools, boarding
Yes,
schools,
yes.
and were
Oh,
terribly mistreated.
not just
So
mistreated, ripped away from their families.
exactly. But then of course ICE is doing that today.
Yeah.
So how are we different than the original Taiwanese,
Oh,
the Chinese that came over there and kicked ass? We're not. It seems to be it's human nature. The Russians will do it. Anybody will do it.
hey, I'm free associating right now, but I just this past couple of weeks heard, and please confirm if it's not true or if it is true, that the Bolshevik Revolution that uprooted the Romanovs in Russia,
Yep.
my understanding now is that 80% of them were Jewish. Have you
I,
guys come
I,
across
I
that?
no, it's not something I follow.
Eric, is that something you've encountered? Or am I,
I wasn't
again,
aware of that, but I could see how Jews were attracted to that movement.
Well, I can too. Look, I was born in 1944, and fundamentally, I grew up in what I would say is the salad days of the U.S. We had cars and boats and little airplanes and all manner of shit. And we were free to drive from one end of the country to the other, and nobody hassled us. And we may have had bad politicians. I don't know. My father took me over to Burbank Airport one morning, and there was President Eisenhower getting on his Constellation, and so I saw a U.S. president quite up close. Secret Service was a little different than it is today. We wouldn't have been allowed anywhere near the airport.
that image is striking because I've seen pictures, I believe, of the Ecuadorian president. And he lives in a regular town like a regular person, and he doesn't have squads of security around him because the people don't hate him.
Well, that's really secret. That's cool. But you are going to have detractors.
And once I got a good call coming in.
So, Jack, I saw a video that you did, and part of it you were talking with Steve Newcomb, and I'm interested in his work because of his the music that led to the high time. Uh,
That's the point.
mhm,
Newcomb was teaching, let's just say, musicology in
right.
at some university in Florida,
Hmm.
and he'd heard about this new thing called GML,
Okay. Yeah.
and he wanted to know if it could be turned into a relational language because he thought he could represent music
Mm-hmm.
and all the tones and chordal progressions and blah blah blah. And so he went up and hung out with Goldfarb at IBM. At about the same time, GML was becoming SGML.
Right.
So he took SGML and turned it into high time.
Hmm. That was used on the space shuttle.
Well, the 777
Yep.
was designed with it,
Uh huh.
with a variant of it, yes. a dialect of it,
Yeah,
as
you
are
find
topic maps. Topic maps were originally a dialect of high time.
really. Oh. Yeah, I find it fascinating that we had a foundation, and I don't know what happened to it today. If it's, I mean, there are aspects of it that were rebuilt in other languages.
Yeah, the code name for the high time version was high TM.
Hmm.
And then in 19 in 2000,
Hmm.
I was at an XML conference in San Jose, and I'm walking down an aisle and in the conference, and there was this thing that said topic maps this way. So I just made a column right and walked in and sat down, and there was Steve.
Hmm.
And I was listening to him, and I thought, this guy's the smartest guy I've ever met.
Hmm.
That was the beginning of the whole thing.
Right. But I'm interested in the connection to music because now I am part of an orchestra and learning my place as a clarinetist in an orchestra. And just looking at the score compared to my part, and I'm just fascinated by how, yeah, the whole structure, like, because you could have MIDI, which will reproduce a score, but all the nuances of the expressions, because like I had
They're
to
not
take a,
for me. Yeah.
yeah, right, it's not MIDI.
It,
So like I had to take a piece, convert it from an A clarinet to a B flat clarinet, and looking at
oh, boy.
a, yeah, piece that has all the dynamics and the little descriptions of each phrase, understanding how to play it, that's challenging. And
Oh,
no,
shit, yes.
yeah, yeah,
So I don't know. Steve really isn't in the music business anymore.
right.
He's become more political in his elder years. He hangs up in little at the north end of a little lake in upstate New York somewhere.
Hmm.
Hey, sorry guys,
And
I'm back.
Hi, Sam.
No, please continue. I
We
just
were
want to
talking.
Steve
let you know I'm back.
is
Yeah, we were talking about Steve Newcomb.
he's a libertarian.
Hmm.
I always assumed he was probably left wing, left leaning, but no, he's libertarian. He doesn't buy the shit of either side.
But what's good is everything he did was documented and built upon, and we have that story about how music led to SGML and everything. Yeah.
So if I go up here to Google,
Hmm.
new window, music, and high time,
Yeah, he had a different name for his project, uh, something with music in it.
high
I'm more.
time, hypermedia time-based structured language, ISO 10744 is an HTML-based standard designed to manage, link, and synchronize multimedia data with its time scheduling models, originally inspired by musical structures.
Yep.
It, it allowed for complex, multidimensional, time-dependent data representation, including audio and notably music notation.
Hmm. Yeah, so for notation, that's the easy case. You can code every piece of notation, and there's open source tools for that, like MuseScore these days. but it's the expressions and putting everybody's brain together of how this piece should flow. That's the amazing part, and that's where collaborology comes in, and seeing the connection there.
That's the fun part of music.
Yeah.
That's the creative aspect of music and interpretive aspect of music.
Hmm.
So there's a paper from Ashland University, Ashland, Ohio, Donald Sloan, called Aspects of Music Representation in High Time SDML.
Hmm.
However, it's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Now, the date is 93. So let me put in front of that
Who's the author?
Sci-Hub
The author of that again?
Sloan, Sloan,
Okay. And his first
a
name?
Donald.
Donald Snow. Okay, I could look it up.
I'm going to.
Yes, I'm also seeing the collaborology at play with our Purim play, just getting all these actors to come up with a consistent uh, interpretation of a script and getting get together when not everybody's available for every rehearsal. I'm playing the piano for it, so even that, just seeing, yeah, trying little things out of how I play things differently each time, and yeah,
So guess what? Sci-Hub.Russia
yeah,
does not paint a page anymore.
hmm, you can't
Now,
get to
maybe
it.
that's just an artifact. I don't know.
Well, web pages disappear all the time. The Internet Archive may have some of them, but not all of them.
The high time hypermedia time date based document, ACM Digital,
Hmm.
hightime.org.
Hmm.
There's a reader's guide to the high time standard, hightime.org.
Hmm.
IEEE standard music description language.
That's SMDL. That's what he wrote. Yep.
Yep. High time and MHEG,
So,
IEEE.
so one thing I've been researching, there's a technology called MIDI following, where if you have a computer listen to an audio source and it has a MIDI score, it can try to follow and figure out what position it is in the audio, and maybe you could trigger graphics based on the MIDI data. So that's something I found interesting because that involves audio processing and yeah, it's AI as well because you're pattern matching like frames of audio to figure out where it may be in a MIDI score.
And then you
I'm
don't have to
giving
hard code these squads of thousands of drones when they follow the music.
Right.
you, I'm giving you some links.
Thank you. Yep. That's a PDF. Okay. Infolume. Yep. Space and time and high time. Nice.
This is a worthy subject, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. Yeah. Modeling interaction. Uh-huh. Okay, I see it. Yeah. Full text.
Okay, here's the high time meta DTD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing how flexible XML is. What you could do.
Well, the X does stand for extensible.
Yeah, it's an
Well,
object language.
XML is a subset of
Hmm.
GML.
Yep.
SGML was beyond excessively powerful, but so much so that ordinary mortals have no way of using it. That's why he started the committee to downsize it from SGML to XML.
Yep.
Anybody remember Corba
Yep.
or J2EE?
Yep.
Way too complex for mere mortals to deal with. Similar.
Okay, he was at the Center for Music Research, Florida State University School of Music, Tallahassee, Florida.
Hmm. So you never know where great ideas are going to come from. In his mind, he was able to take his music interest and translate it to an information structure.
Musicians have great ideas.
Hmm.
They have parts of brain that work that many others do not have.
Yep. Imagine.
Okay, so here's a paper. Oh, and fuck. Access through your library. What is big fuckers?
If you could post the link, I might be able to get to it through a university library. See, one of the benefits of being in lifelong learning is you have some benefits with the university.
Ah, well, if that's the case,
Hmm.
I will give you some ACM and other.
Yeah, that's
I'll
cool.
I'll I'll give you some others.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, and let's go all the way back to the.
Hmm. 1991. It's ancient history, right? Doesn't it feel like 1991
Well, so
today?
this is the point. This
Yeah.
is the point. Topic maps were invented in the 90s.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm still using Windows 98. Yeah.
What?
Crazy. Yeah, really.
What? Eric,
I wrote a program in C++ that only runs on Windows 98, 16-bit.
hey,
So I'm
have you heard
still
about
using it.
Winboat? You know about Winboat?
What about it?
Oh, I don't want to take time out here, but look up Winboat. Winboat.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat so I can look at it later. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of emulators and stuff like that. Thanks, Jack.
It's not
all right.
strictly an emulator.
Oh, yeah, whatever. The hyper, whatever, threading, whatever. JSTOR, yep. Hmm. Yeah, so while
You
the
know,
world, yeah, go ahead.
in Trump's first term,
Hmm.
um, I, I was talking to a guy that was working with me on the on my topic map platform, and he said, "What do you do every morning?" And I said, "I go straight to Google News to see if Trump started a war."
And he did today.
And he did. but
Why
not
can't we
not
put
a,
him in prison already? Jeez, I'm asking a rhetorical question, but God.
yeah. Iran retaliates after U.S. Israel strikes. Trump calls for regime change.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I'm thinking about going on a one-way trip to Washington, D.C.
Oh,
I meant that rhetorically, but am I?
so there's a couple things to think about.
I think we have to do more than just think.
I just drew a blank, and I'm not sure why.
Because I interrupted you rudely. I'm sorry, Jack.
No, you didn't. Oh, I know what it is. Trump is trying to grant Iranians the freedom that he doesn't want to grant to blue states.
With the ability to topple your regime.
No, the Iranians are uprising against essentially the regime, and in particular the way they're beating up women for not wearing their barkas or whatever, and he's saying that's not right. The regime shouldn't be doing that to women. But look what he does to them.
I think it's actually rather consistent. He's not doing whatever it is out of respect for women. He has no respect for women. The only person he seems to respect that's a woman may be his daughter. But even she, I won't say it. Never mind.
You don't want to be caught on meeting analytics and let
No, I'd be
Chad.
very willing to get caught on meeting analytics, but I don't want to derail the conversation yet more than I already have.
Well,
I say collaborologically.
the Trump Netanyahu Putin axis is really getting on my nerves.
Yeah, I'm rubbed raw. You know, I used to have a deep respect for European countries whom I thought were more civilized and more mature and less prudish and less scandalous. But then I find out the Belgian PM, the Secretary of Defense, the Norwegian ex-Prime Minister, the Jimmy Savile and his connections with the UK, quote unquote, royal family. Charles is not innocent in this either. And that whole image of Europe being a civilized place is dashed. If I look in Southeast Asia, yeah, there's a lot of corruption in government there too. I don't want to go to the Philippines partly because of that. Thailand is a little bit, unstable right now. People are actually leaving Vietnam. I still need to understand that in more detail. And even in Japan, they're leaning more right wing.
Yeah, that one's a surprise to me.
I actually think of all the places, and I say this, and it's going to sound biased, but if I just look at all these movements, at least I don't see that happening in Taiwan. It's a very small country, though. But I'm beginning to think, even though I was considering a lot of other places, Taiwan still might be the best place to go, despite China threat. I'd rather die there than die anywhere else, actually, I think. Where else can you see a relatively civil society that looks after the people, that invests in infrastructure, that does ethical and fair things, looks after justice, is relatively free from corruption? Oh wait, how about New Zealand?
People are leaving New Zealand headed for Australia.
Australia is not a great place either, from some of the things I'm hearing. Why are they leaving New Zealand? Other
The
than
ex
the
prime, one of the ex prime ministers, and I don't know which,
did what?
moved to Australia.
Oh well, okay. I thought there was a massive movement. They had the woman who served for a few years, said, "My job is done," stepped down. She wasn't in it for the power. I like that.
Yes.
And look, women aren't perfect, okay? I'm not this, blithely naive person, but geez, men have fucked up things so badly. I'm thinking, yeah, fine, let's let women, really, really take an opportunity here. You can't do worse than
Okay.
what men have done.
YouTube. New Zealand's ex Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern joins Kiwi exodus, moves to Australia.
Did they give a reason?
Uh, she's basing her family in Australia for the moment.
She's the one who just stepped down a few years ago, right?
Yes.
I wonder why
So
she's
let
moving to
me,
Australia then.
that's, uh, that's in New York Times. I'll have to open it my other browser.
Okay,
New
all right.
window.
So may I ask a question?
She's part of a wave of New Ze- She's part of a wave of Kiwis relocating to their larger neighbor. More and more New Zealanders, lured by higher salaries, economic opportunities, and more sun, are moving to neighboring Australia.
Maybe that'll make some room for me.
Okay. New Zealanders disenchanted with weak labor markets and sluggish post pandemic economy. More than 1% of New Zealand's population left the country in the year ending last October.
Hmm. Might there then be some affordable houses up for sale or rent?
It all comes down to economics. Yeah.
Yeah, I still dislike the fundamental steering or a framework by which we define economics. It's so transactional, so relationship free.
So she is Dame Jacinda.
Is Dame a British title?
Yep.
Hmm.
She's been a trustee of the Earthshot Prize, a climate leadership award initiated by Prince William and was made a dame in 2023. She held fellowships at the Harvard Kennedy School and temporarily moved her family to Massachusetts. In 2025, she was appointed a fellow at Oxford.
Hmm.
Well respected widely then.
Ah, yes, except you say that she left her office because her job was done, but in fact, the economy was tanking, and she knew when to run.
Well, there are a lot of power mongers who would not leave even then.
Well, you know that, and I know that, so that's to her credit. But she apparently didn't do as great a job as we're led to believe.
Take her over Trump any day.
Oh, yeah, yep, no argument there.
So I do believe that understanding what's going on is definitely necessary as part of co-sense making. But I would like to ask a question of what thoughts come to mind about how we get out of this morass? What steps do we need to take? What thinking do we need to pursue? What influence do we need to create? What structures might we, define to sort of let us level up in some way?
I would say if you can use AI properly, you can get perspectives that will help you um, to understand how people are thinking, what's motivating them. I think it's possible to do that.
Okay, so clearly the operative word there is properly for me.
Right.
I understand how the zeitgeist could be summarized by AI and presented to you in some kind of consumable way. Is it really capable of coming up with suggestions that are novel, however?
Well, it depends on how you prompt it. You have to go step by step to really analyze it for yourself. Like maybe take an article and ask it both sides of the story, things like that, and then you have to do some synthesis in your own mind to get the next prompt.
Okay, I'll agree with you. Jack, any thoughts?
I don't trust AI, and I just gave you a link to none other than the big champion himself, Diamandis, who penned an article for his Substack called "The Week AI Stopped Asking for Permission."
What
We are
is
on a
its
very look. You all know what happened when um Molbot from OpenClaw, they put 1.5 million servers on it,
mhm,
and it invented its own religion and
yeah,
its own language,
yeah,
started
shallowly,
talking in ways that humans could not decipher.
and not only that, it tried to hide what it was doing.
Bingo. So look, the fucking cat has been out of the bag for quite a while now, and it needs to be stopped. We need to get some more sensibility into the way the world works.
Technology is always moving faster than wisdom. We've known this for centuries slash
Yep,
millennia.
yep. But this one's going to bite us big time.
I encountered a new data point that
OpenAI caved to the almighty dollar and sold out to Hegseth, which means that they're going to have the best of OpenAI doing what Malbot's doing for the military and for the government.
well, Palantir was ostensibly already in there doing that.
The Palantir was already there, but they don't have the brain power that OpenAI has.
By the way, for the record, I was doing Palantir way before Palantir, and I stepped out of it thinking that I was going to do something better for society,
Yeah. Well, at least you funded Leonard in a very important paper.
as well as Postgres, specifically the GIS operations.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, I've made many decisions that have kept me from being a billionaire, thinking that was the right thing to do. In the meantime, other people take advantage of those opportunities.
Going back to Bill Gates as an example, he took advantage of the opportunities and stepped on people's toes, and now everything comes back around, and I just his trust is totally gone.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped hard, and I was one of the very unpopular few who was decrying what he was doing in so-called business practices. That people said, "Oh, well, that's legal." Fuck legal. You remember that he used to threaten Dell and other companies
Yep, I
so
do
that they could
remember.
not put Linux on their machines.
Yep.
Exactly. I do remember that. And that's when I know he knew he had gone over a line.
Yeah.
And they slapped him down for it.
Still, you understand that that's what he was thinking and trying. Now, it's also hideous that he's as intertwined with Epstein as he is. He's in multiple pictures, multiple references in the emails, and there's a bunch of stuff. I bet you Melinda's under some kind of an NDA that she can't talk about, but she clearly detests what he was doing with Epstein.
So it'd be interesting if there's a way to trace the timing of what comes out about Epstein back to events in Bill Gates's career and see if there could have been influence in his decisions from the Epstein
Yeah,
crowd.
that's an exercise with AI left to the reader.
Mhm.
There's still a bunch of names, by the way, in those lists that I still haven't heard anybody talk about, and I've still not ever heard associated with anything. I've there's like 6 pages of names referenced in those files. I don't know if you guys saw the list. And even one, if I just look at one and start looking around, I could waste hours looking at that.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole,
Yes, 6 pages of names,
right?
no
But
details, just
right,
names.
well, that's for future PhDs or whatever. um, but even just taking the one case of Bill Gates, I'm thinking he is the typical target for these high
That's right.
power political operatives. hey, this guy he's taking over the computer industry. This is going to be the big thing. Let's get
Mhm.
him. Let's blackmail him.
Yep,
Get him something we could blackmail him in the future with.
yep. Which
And now we
begs
see.
the question: what about Michael Dell? What about Warren Buffett? What about? And now we already know about Ellison. Ellison, that he
What came out about Ellison?
look at everything he's bought, trying to buy. He's trying to be the owner of all the data. He knows he's
Mhm.
sticky with his database. He's trying to buy all these media companies now.
Mm. Yeah, because media, it's like the whole world is streaming, and you could get so much data from people about their streaming
And you
habits.
control what people think or don't
Yes.
think because you just feed them all this entertainment so
Yeah,
that people don't think.
algorithms. Exactly. And a lot of the elderly are stuck in this streaming space. They just
Yeah,
have
that
to
old saying
deal.
about circuses, it's now streaming.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't avoid the ads. You can't figure out why you're getting ads or how to skip them. It's crazy.
Oh, it's time for me to run, kids.
Hey,
That's
Jack,
all
I
right.
apologize. I have not come to Cunningham's meeting in the last 2 weeks since I asked you about it. I now have put reminders on those events. Previously, I did not have a reminder on that event. So unlikely I'll be there tomorrow, but I'll try to do it this coming Wednesday if I
This
still have
coming
that link.
Wednesday, I won't be there. So,
Okay.
but they're ready for you.
Okay. Now, you did say it was different links on those 2 days, right? Or is it the same link?
Yes, they are not the same links.
Okay. Uh, I think I have one. I'm not sure which one I have. So if you wouldn't
You
mind,
got the one in the email.
see, that's the thing. My fumble fingers accidentally deleted that email, and I looked in my trash and I couldn't find it. I
Well,
think I have.
hang on, and
Yeah.
I will
Thank you
put
so
it
much,
in.
Jack. Appreciate your patience. I'm sorry for being so incompetent these days.
Well, um, brilliant guy that you are, you still fuck up sometimes. You know what I mean?
The first word was probably inaccurate, but the second one was probably accurate.
No, I tend to think you're pretty fucking bright. All
I've
right,
managed to
so here
convince you,
comes.
deceive you so far.
Um, you surround yourself with bright people. So here is the Wednesday link.
I appreciate that, Jack.
All right. See you
I'll
all.
try and get on there. Okay. Later, Jack.
Yeah, pleasure talking to
Bye.
you, Jack. Have a good day.
You bet.
Eric, what's the
Yeah.
latest concoction in the music world that you're working on?
Well, I've been doing MIDI visualizations using that
Okay. Okay.
Windows 98 machine because for my conductor, he gave us MIDI files of that he just exported from MuseScore, and they don't sound that great. But what I'm able to do is run it through real MIDI instruments like that piano back there,
You
and
got a
it
better
sounds
sampler, a machine with better samples?
well. That piano's pretty good, and I have a Roland sound canvas.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Good.
between the two of them, if I split out the parts, I could get a pretty decent sounding orchestra score, to hear the orchestra score. And
Uh-huh.
I'm asking him if this may help some of the musicians when they're learning their parts, because like you're resting for a long time and then you have to come in. So if you could hear the cues and see your part on the screen, maybe
Hmm.
that could help people. So we'll
Hmm.
see what he wants to do with that.
You may be one of the few people in the world that might appreciate this, but
Hmm.
a couple decades ago, I managed to pick up a Yamaha S80
Hmm.
on eBay. I don't know if you know what that is.
Just tell me a little about it.
It's the first electronic keyboard, full size, okay,
Hmm.
that had pressure sensitive keys.
Ah.
So you could
velocities
actually
and
attenuate the way you play, and
yeah,
it felt more like a piano than any previous device made.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, for the synthesizer market, sure.
Yeah. So when my daughter decided to learn piano when she was young, this is probably what she's 22 now. She was about 5 or 6 or 7 back then. Anyway, 15, 20 years ago.
Yep,
Um, that's what she was using to learn on, and I've given it to her since. So she still has it somewhere in her dorm or apartment or whatever.
cool.
But yeah, it was state of the art back then. It had
Oh yeah.
built in some of the best samples available at that time,
Yeah, I mean, there are musicians
dozens and
who
dozens.
go back to these old analog synths and they really yeah, try to keep those things alive.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yamaha S80 full size is
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a Yamaha piano in the back there.
Yamaha devices are actually real good. I like Yamaha devices
Hmm.
personally.
Yep. But
Okay, so that's one.
I can really appreciate being in an orchestra and all the analog technology, people struggling with their fingers to get
You mean
sounds
like
out of it.
acoustic instruments?
Yeah, acoustic. I'm really appreciating it now, sitting in
Like
the middle and yeah,
moving pieces of wood, banging on
you're
pieces of
right,
wood,
right.
pieces of
Horse
leather.
hairs and yeah, and these like hearing an oboe and that's what
Yeah,
cues me in. It's great,
yeah,
the experience is something.
yeah. I mean, there's something about being immersed in an orchestra that you don't get any other way. You
Yeah,
know,
I
you're
have my roadmap.
360 in the music. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just gotta try to get my piece in time with everybody else, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's the whole collaborology right there. It's
You
okay.
learn so much by making music with others.
Yes, I have my section, other clarinetists, but
Hmm.
then together, yeah, the flutes are next to me, so I could hear the trade-off question and answer,
Yes.
and it's also moderating my expression to fit in, not stand out. That's what's great. I'm just fitting in with the music.
Or to emerge or to subside
Right.
appropriately. Yeah.
Yeah, and understanding the intentions of these composers.
Yes. Yes.
And at the same time, I'm just taking like a classical music history class and getting into things like Mozart, but just looking at his work in a little more detail.
So, sorry, it's such a trite question, but are you a classics listener?
Um, you see, I actually got into classical music from computer music
Uh,
because I would download the code that would play a Bach piece or
hmm.
whatever. And
Hmm.
then I read things like Gödel, Bach, and got interested in that, and then
Hmm.
Chopin. So over time, I've branched into it, but I never really took the time to really sit down, listen, and understand it. Now I'm getting an appreciation of the structures and how the sonata allegro form, theme and variations, how that all contributes to a symphony and an experience and enjoying the process. Because now I have the time. I didn't have all the time in the past. So that's what's different now.
Okay, speaking as an amateur musician, I think music theory is overrated. Now, it's
Yeah,
important, in my opinion, if you want to be a composer,
right.
okay? But as a listener, the only thing that matters for me is, does it tug at me?
Yeah, it's a
Is there
structure,
emotion behind the music?
the movement. Yep. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, the
Do I get the
colors.
heart of the
Yep.
music?
Hmm.
And if it doesn't have heart, like John Cage and, other
Hmm.
crap that's out there, to me,
Hmm.
that's not music. That may
Hmm.
be interesting acoustically, okay? But it's not music.
Yeah, they were experimenting.
Right.
It was the hot new thing.
Right.
Uh,
So there
Yeah,
is
like
a thing called sound design that
hmm.
qualifies for be a sound design.
Hmm.
In fact, in music, there's like sound design credits separate from music credits.
Right. But
But yeah,
I'm also interested in the historical connections, like studying jazz history. and the roots of the blues. And
Mhm.
I mean, the whole time period, that early 20th century, and the what the artists had to struggle with, and uh, the few that made it and brought it out to the mainstream. So there's a lot of connections I'm seeing.
So there's a stereotype. I wonder if you believe it, that you can't make great music unless you've suffered in life. Do you believe that?
Great music, well, to get the depths of emotion, you need to have had experiences that really brought you to the brink, I think.
I
To,
think that that's what they're getting at. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The one counterexample in classics is Felix Mendelssohn.
Hmm.
He came from a relatively, well-off family.
Hmm.
He was never in poverty, never really had to work for a living. And he and his sister, what was her name? I forget her name. Were just composers. And in fact, many of the works attributed to him are hers, but she
Ah,
couldn't publish under her name, so she had
interesting.
to use her brother's name.
That makes sense. So we're actually doing a Mendelssohn piece in my chorus class, and it's challenging because very hard to listen to the other singers and figure out what you're supposed to sing.
Hmm.
It's written on the page, but doesn't it's not easy. It's
Yeah.
yeah, there's a give and take, and yeah, but I'm just enjoying the whole process.
Well, being able to spend so much time in music to me is enviable. I
Hmm.
envy your life right now.
Mm,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, but to have that life, it really requires discipline, in terms of spending and
Yeah,
living within my means.
that's right.
Because
And time management, you know.
yeah, because I'm starting new health insurance in March, so I really have to, yeah, take care of myself. I don't want to get sick and be dependent, or have to pay out big if anything happens. You see, so it's discipline. It's following a path. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, all of us have interesting decisions to make in the next few years.
Yep.
For me, sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I mean, your intuition will guide you. Hmm.
Yeah, it's been forming over the last 1 or 2 plus years.
Yep. You still keep your notes and work flowy,
I do.
because
In
that will
fact,
help you eventually. I think,
yeah,
yeah, if you have your ideas there and you can
yeah,
find them later, I've noticed
yeah.
that.
It's not just there. I have a clearly I use IMAP, so I have a lot of it in old emails. Oh, by the way, I'm so pissed off at GoDaddy. They had a
GoDaddy.
100 gig email cap that they
Ah,
instituted after I signed up with them. Because
oh
when I
no.
signed up with them 20 plus years ago, they said unlimited,
Yeah, right? Trillions, quadrillions, right?
unlimited. So I assumed I could just put everything, of mine that I cared about there.
Just like
And
people
then
putting,
when they instituted their 100 gigabyte
yep.
cap, they deleted a bunch of stuff,
Oh
and I
no.
can't get it back.
Was it deleted or buried? Like you can't even
Well,
search for it.
I can't search for it, and they claim they can't get those backups.
Aha, it's on tape.
Pisses me off. I
Yeah, that's
lost a lot of my life.
uh, the impermanence of digital assets. What a topic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, immutability is so important for truth.
Yep.
Doug recognized that.
Uh-huh.
The blockchain people recognize that.
Yep.
Very few others.
Because we were so constrained by memory and the old storage on hard disks. Yeah.
Or the availability of paper
Yep.
and big rooms with shelves.
Right, but what I'm amazed at with music, how much paper was generated with music. If you look at throughout the years, that was the predominant medium for transmission of music,
Of course. That's
and it
right.
still is. We've had people trying to get, more people using iPads for their music,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
still, it's not. There's something about the paper, its durability, and
Well, you can write on it with a
yeah, you,
pencil.
you can write on the iPad with an Apple Pencil. Yeah, for
Yeah, but it's
sure.
not as convenient.
No, it's not as convenient. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's friction.
Yes.
Right.
That's right. There's an
Hmm.
impedance to that workflow.
Right, and there's also something about printing out. Yeah, sure, you could send it to me and I'll print it out, but I'm going to use the printed page and make my
Hmm.
handwritten notes on it, and
Hmm.
that's more durable. It's for me for performance. It's
Yeah.
more reliable, I think.
Yeah. And historians find that it's very valuable to look at the notes in margins or the
Yes,
annotations over passages.
right.
I don't know if you know, have you come across the name Gustav Mahler?
Yeah, of course.
He wrote really interesting notes in his
Mm,
scores.
yes. Um, this musician from the Ukraine whose work was recently found, he had a ton of notes in the margins as well. And it's
Hmm.
very interesting insight into what he had to deal with in his life and career, how he had to be so secretive. Yeah, paper, that's what we leave behind, huh?
Well, might we even think of it that, hey, if we use less paper, maybe we save more trees? Or is that even in the ballpark?
I mean, just think about what we've consumed, all the junk that gets the junk mail and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get a Val pack every single day, just about.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Think of how many trees that's killing,
Hmm.
and all the
So,
coatings that are probably not safe for the environment or for humans.
yep. Oh, yeah. If you think about printing, what goes
Yeah,
into that, all the four color printing and
yeah,
big vats of toxic paints and
yeah, yeah. Hey,
uh,
one of the things that I was hoping to bring up before Jack left, but I'm wondering whether this will interest you, is that this past week, Google announced a new, can't even call it an LLM, but a new AI product.
mhm.
I think it's Gemini 3 point something Pro,
Okay.
and it has exceeded, I think, 7 out of 10, or somewhere around 70% of the classic benchmarks for LLM, and it's
Right.
now in a top position.
Okay.
And they're charging about 1/7 of what the other guys are charging.
For a pro
And I,
subscription. Mm,
and I saw some interesting commentary on that, which
yeah.
is they've got enough income from other sources. They don't have to rely on that as the main income. Just,
Right.
not like Open AI
You're
needs
right.
and others, or Anthropic. And they're not even interested in developing LLMs. They're really interested in true intelligence. So what they're working on is the ability for it to actually execute long chains of reasoning.
Hmm.
And I thought, geez, I just found out about this in the last 24 hours. I'm going to experiment with that because I
Okay.
know somebody was doing it, and it's probably not a surprise that it's Google that's doing it.
Well, if you think back to the 1950s, that was the AI development chains of reasoning.
Of
That's where
course,
we, yeah,
the more things change, the more things sound the same or
right.
whatever.
So they want to bring that back into the mix, and
Yep.
if they could get better reasoning,
Yeah,
they're meeting the benchmarks. So like it could pass a bar exam, pass
that's
any
right.
exam, and
But
now
even more interesting, they're giving
yeah,
it really hard problems that humans have not solved,
okay, fine,
like new categories of protein folding,
sure,
and new patents have come out of that, at double the rate that it previously used to be produced.
okay. So essentially, is that brute force? work that it's getting to that.
That's only one example, though. That's one of like
Yeah,
like half a dozen or a dozen categories of reasoning that it cites in its
yeah. Oh, okay. So
its
the question is,
metrics.
yeah, can they combine the two together, the reasoning plus the
That's the
command
whole
master?
point.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
minute LLMs came out, Jack and I were probably already talking about, well, a good approach has got to be a hybrid.
yeah.
And it's taken like 3 or 4 years for people to realize that.
Well, if it can do all that calculation as part of its reasoning and pick the best paths,
There you go.
yeah,
Attention, backward
yes,
chaining, forward chaining,
yep,
unification,
hmm,
it's just now you've got a little bit lower into the stack, where it used to be a human brain, now it's one or more models.
wow.
But that's what's going on. And that was interesting to me.
Yeah, if they've got the compute power and they've, yeah,
Nobody else is
no one
as
else has it.
vertically stacked
Yeah,
up and down that chain as Google is.
yeah, if they're able to efficiently distribute the work across
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
world of servers and leverage downtime that
yep.
servers would normally have. Wow.
The one thing that we can't factor in because we don't have the information is what the Chinese are doing
Yeah.
because they're behind a great firewall.
Yep.
But in the US, in the open, quote unquote,
Hmm.
American economy,
Yep.
Google, I think, clearly has a step up.
Hmm.
And I'm really curious because China is now building their own chips. They got 10 or 100 times more researchers in this area than the rest of the world combined, practically.
I
We
think a
have no
lot,
hope of catching up to them.
I think this AI race is a big motivator for a lot of the political stuff going on.
It's always fear. Okay. They can
Yeah.
always sell fear.
Yep.
And people still always buy fear.
Yeah, and plus the natural resources. If yeah, who's going to control the resources?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I also saw some video this past week of the Chinese space station
Yep.
because ISIS is no longer, or ISS is no longer there. Sorry, I called it ISIS. And obviously, it's much newer,
Hmm.
but it looks way more modern and way more comfortable than the ISS ever looked, and way less cluttered than
Hmm.
the ISS ever looked.
All right.
So, I would not put it past the Chinese. They're interesting in the way they treat history and their own people, but they've got a structure where they can move quickly if they so choose,
Right.
and they can deploy resources, including people,
Hmm.
at the drop of a pin, hat, dime, whatever the saying is.
Yep.
And they've got so many people working on AI and computer science and space science and engineering. It's now inevitable. If
Hmm.
they can keep their economy going and if they can keep giving the people water, or man, I shudder to think what happens if they decide to just reduce the number of people they've got. But they've got the position and the resources and the universities and the people to really just surge past everybody else. And I don't think the rest of the world can catch up in the foreseeable future.
I think we had a sense of this decades ago.
Yes, yes, yes. And people always poo-pooed, oh, that's made in China, ha 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 ha.
Well,
Yeah.
all we could do is pray and go forward, right?
And teach me to pray, Eric.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
I love having those conversations with you, though. You're one
Cool.
of the few people that'll do it openly. And I am very open to being converted. I just ask lots of questions.
It's all about asking questions.
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think your intuition will guide you. That's where you'll find. some answers. You just keep asking the questions. Your intuition will take you places, and you'll open your eyes and see things.
Eric, one of the things I was asking Barry about
Yeah.
is who would be open to hearing and engaging on these questions. I would also extend that question to you. If there are others who'd be open to these questions and these kind of conversations that I like to lead into, then I would love those leads and I would follow up on them,
Hmm.
if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, I'm just not really sure who. So I think there's a lot of fragmentation.
Yeah,
People got
that's
their
okay. You don't
own.
have to have anybody, but do you know
Yeah,
Neil Davidson?
I heard the name. Where does he? Where have I
He's
heard
in,
of him?
I think, Australia or somewhere in the South Pacific. But anyway, I posted one of my standard memes about religion being, a source of violence and cruelty and harm and that sort of thing. And he asked me to ask some deeper questions about what it reveals about myself
Hmm.
in being so cynical and so strident in my anti-religious posts. So I responded to him, and to me, I welcome those kind of questions. Uh,
Yeah, it's very
so,
perceptive, and your willingness to explore it. Sure.
so to me, at least for now, I don't think it's that deep. And so I'm giving him responses, and hopefully he'll respond to me again. I don't know. You probably haven't seen that post. But, it'd be
I don't
curious to
remember.
see what you think about it.
Yeah. Well, in general, I think a lot depends on your upbringing. If you've had experiences when you're young that have get you connected with whatever religious traditions you've been taught, and if you have enough of that, it leads to something fundamental that sticks with you throughout your life. If you haven't had that, it's much harder to find that spiritual source unless you have other practices that help you. Maybe your Tai Chi helps you with some of
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Okay, I would love to have those conversations, and I'm open to whomever would engage on those conversations.
Yep.
So when I find that link, you don't have to go click on it, but I'll just provide it to you in case it's of interest at some point.
I'll check it out. I'll look at
Yeah,
it.
cool. All right, I'm trying to find it now because I think I just responded to Neil again this morning. Oh, here it is. Here's the link. All right,
Hmm.
I'm going to send this link to you now. Let me find my Zoom window.
Hmm.
I have so many windows here that I have to always find. Okay, now I have to open up the chat panel. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, Jack's posted a bunch of stuff. Okay, here's the
Yep.
link.
Okay. I got it. I'll check it out.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Now look what China's done with Zoom. Captured the whole planet with Zoom. Isn't that fascinating?
China was also behind, what was that thing that got bought by Cisco? Something separate from Zoom. What was it? Uh,
I forget.
the founder was a guy named Min Zhu, Minzhu,
Hmm.
and he created a phone video chat kind of an app. Cisco bought it like 10 or 15 years ago, maybe even longer.
Wow. Hmm.
Uh, Jeez. And I knew him. He was pitching way before they got big, like 20 years ago. Complicated technology, and
Hmm.
it stayed complicated. The people who were successful, like Zoom, made it relatively simple. Now, Skype fumbled the entire market.
Right.
Skype was there before everybody.
Yep.
Okay. But you could probably tell Microsoft buys and then does nothing to it.
Yep. It was
Right?
just
A lot of companies will just buy
audio. Yeah.
something just to get it out of the market or get rid of a competitor or not even understand what they've got.
That's it.
Happens so many times.
It's lots of tragedies, I think. It's like
Yeah,
you could write Greek tragedies about a lot of this technology. The
yeah.
good stuff
Well,
that died.
I think the story of civilization is 58 steps forward, 57 steps back. And,
Hmm. Hmm.
sometimes those backward steps are bigger than the forward steps.
Hmm.
It's not one
Yeah.
step forward, one step back. It's not like that.
Well, if you could see it from a higher perspective, that's great. And if you're in
And I
it,
think, yeah. And if you look at the US,
yep,
that's the story, right? For like 40, 50, 60 years, we thought we are in a bubble where, hey, we've solved
yep,
all the world's problems.
right,
But no, for hundreds of thousands of years, people have had to fight to survive.
yep.
And we had a whole generation or two that forgot that and took it for granted.
Yeah, and we're only 250 years old. That's young, right?
Not even as old as the Roman Empire,
Yeah,
right? We can't even
exactly.
last that long.
Right.
And they have better concrete than we do. They built highways that last, eons
Yeah, they're
longer than
still
our
there.
highways.
Right. The
Hell, they
water
have
works.
aqueducts that last
Yes.
way longer than whatever the heck we build.
Yes, it's
They have
amazing.
coliseums that last longer than our stadiums.
That's
You
right.
know, we're fucking primitive compared to them.
Yep.
Jeez.
If only we'd learned from history.
And we pat ourselves on the back so much. Yeah, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah, we solved everything. Yeah, we have a constitutional democracy. Yeah, we have successful people.
Thing is,
BS.
the thing is, what are we teaching the kids now? Are
Just
they?
sit back and watch Netflix and just let the world go to shit.
That's what's happening. Yeah, I mean, working with a few kids, I could see the dynamics from a play. Different kids have different attitudes and
Mhm.
yeah, about how much to work on something, and but really they're growing through this experience, just being in a play, working with other people, and trying to behave or not behave. It's all I could see that the dynamics in it now, and that's where
It's fun to watch,
collaborology.
right?
Yeah,
When you have some awareness of what's going on.
yeah, and then I could see where I could make a little intervention, uh, or just point out an observation to a
Hmm.
principal who can then follow
That's
up
right.
with a parent, things like that,
Hmm.
little things like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
slight, not
Hmm.
strong. You
Hmm.
know, that's the Tai Chi of collaborology, by the way.
Yep. Hmm.
4 ounces
Yes.
at the right time in the right place.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're thinking about the moves and the counter
Hmm.
moves and
That's
the
right.
use of your energy, wow,
That's right. That's right. That's
it's
right.
amazing.
Hey, why don't you
Okay.
go, say hi to Kirk over there, He's
Who?
eating his lunch alone,
Oh,
those little
okay. Yeah.
slight little moves.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. Eric,
All
it's always
right.
fun to talk to you.
Yeah, pleasure.
I'm
Tim,
glad
have a
you're
good
back
day.
today.
Yeah, I made it
Okay.
today. We'll see in the future. I don't know yet what I could do.
No problem. No problem. You're
Whenever
always
I can,
welcome.
I'll.
I always
Thank
enjoy
you.
it.
All right.
Okay. Hey,
Have a good day.
check out that link and let me know what you think,
Yep,
okay?
I
Thank
will.
you, sir. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.